You know, sometimes when you think about things, sometimes you wonder, would things be better if I wasn't here, or would things really even matter? Jesus Christ, who is that?
Oh, hello there. Oh, you didn't make a wish just now, did you?
Okay, Mr. Scary, man who looks like death. Okay, I'll humor you. Why not? Why don't you just show me how life would be different if, you know, well, I wasn't around.
You just said, like, oh no, what would be like if world didn't know or you weren't around? I'd make that happen.
Maybe this show would be a success. Who knows? But let's try and maybe while we're doing this, while I'm figuring out all this stuff out, maybe we'll talk about a movie. Maybe we'll talk about It's a Wonderful Life. That seems overfitting. Greetings and salutations. Today's episode is talking about an all-time Christmas and great film in general. It's a Wonderful Life. Directed by Frank Capra. And the film is based on a novel called The Greatest Gift. And the film is from 1946. The cast for this film includes James Stewart as George Bailey, Donna Reed as Mary Hatch, Lionel Berryman as Mr. Potter, Thomas Mitchell as Uncle Billy, Henry Travers as Clarence, Bill Bondi as Mr. Bailey, Mrs. Bailey, Frank Phelan as Ernie, and Ward Bond as Bert. Gloria Graham as Von Bick, and H.B. Warner as Mr. Grover. There is a huge cast for this film, but I've got to say, I've never actually seen It's Wonderful Life until this video. Yeah, I mean, I know the basic gist of it, and you know the ending, because that ending is famous. Heck, I could say the most well-known. I've seen a lot of like shows or cartoons that are trying to be faithful things to It's a Wonderful Life, whether it's shows like iCarly or heck even cartoons such as Fairly Odd Parents. Heck, the most well-known adaptation of It's a Wonderful Life I have seen was the Muppets version of It's a Wonderful Life, where Kermit wishes he was never born because, the Muppet Theater is going to be going into bankruptcy, so he's got to figure out, oh, what do I do? How do I make things good? However, after having seen this film, I'm going to say this film totally earns its place as one of the greatest films. Well, near such films like, say, what's that film? The Rosebud one. Darn it. I guess. Well, anyways, the film is just a great film overall. It's wonderful. The characters are charming. The story is kind of relatable. The actors are great.
I left right in the middle of it. As soon as I got Mary's telegram. Good idea, Ernie. A toast. To my big brother, George, the richest man in town.
In all honesty. Basically, the story of it deals with basically gives the big details of the life of George Bailey from his young childhood to his adulthood, and he realized, maybe life would be better without me. And then, his guardian angel says, no, hold your horse there. I beg to differ.
Hey, Nick, isn't that Mr. Gower, the druggist?
You know, that's another reason for me not to like you. That rumhead spent 20 years in jail for poisoning a kid. If you know him, you must be a jailbird yourself. Would you show these gentlemen to the door?
Sure. This way, gentlemen.
And yeah, basically he goes say, okay, this is what your life is like without, you being around. And I gotta say, this film is still wonderful. This film, since this film came out many decades ago, or by now centuries ago, I don't know, but it still holds up. It still feels like, this could be relatable to anyone, in all honesty. And I love it for that, though. I mean, I'm gonna say sometimes it takes a lot to, make me cry. But this film, it was able to make me do it. And I'm gonna be honest, I really had trouble trying to figure out ways to make jokes about this film, but I gotta say, yeah, this was kind of hard. And in fact, I don't want to make fun of this movie. I'd rather praise it. I love the sequence when both Mary and George are dancing, and they're just dancing so much that they fall into the pool. I feel like there's something would happen in a modern day rom-com, but they'd still be charming. One of the sequences which was used in a lot of, say, Kay Jewelers scenes was the say the pulling of the moon when the neighbor comes out. I'm sorry, this movie is just charming. It really is. I mean, you kind of understand George and the fact that, he's helped so many people out in his life that he sometimes just forgets to, think about himself, and the fact he gives up going to college to help out his little brother. He gives up the honeymoon of going around the world with him and his new wife to help save the family business. So yeah, the George Bailey is kind of just a great guy. The central antagonist is Mr. Potter, who is basically this guy who just wants to buy everything at the community so that he can become powerful. And without George being there, he kind of does. Whether it's stopping the druggists that George worked as a child from end up poisoning people because of being depressed. Or the fact that, you know, without George, that Mary would be a spinster. But, I mean, I think that's kind of sad, but it makes me think, like, so you tell me that without George, that Mary would be this woman who wouldn't really have any motivation or drive. But I guess that's what happens for true love, in a way. I mean, I'm really cannot say much. I think this film is amazing. Whether it's the moment when George comes back and he's running through the streets, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, because.
Yay! Hello, Bedford Falls! Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, George! Merry Christmas, George!
Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, Emporium!
He's back. I'm sorry, I really cannot say much more about this. This movie's just fantastic. It really is. It's a Christmas, you know, good film classic. So, one of the reasons, like, the fact that it gets played on TV a lot is because the film wasn't really put into copyright, so, the film wasn't able to be broadcast on TV every year. And also, the film didn't really do well when it came out in theaters, but it eventually became a cult classic because of reruns, sort of like how A Christmas Story did in a way. But we're going back to you guys. What do you guys think of It's a Wonderful Life? Put those thoughts in those comments down below. Thank you, and have a wonderful holiday.
Welcome to a world where you were not around. Yes, I know I look like Santa Claus, but... well, my job anyway is to help you realize the errors of your way.
So, Mr. Angel or Deaf Dude. So, if I wasn't around, then does that mean... What happens to Mr. King? Does he still do videos?
Oh, and, well, the thing about Mr. King is...
I can't find him.
well, since you weren't around, he didn't really have as much of a friend to bounce things off, ideas off, or in a way. So, in a way, he became a lawyer. Although he is rather successful, he's still quite sad. He realizes, he looks back and thinks, like, wow, sometimes I wish I could be an actor. With you there, you always were there as a friend to help him in his times of spreading him a little laugh, or being there when he just needed someone to talk to.
Maybe the ghost is right. You know, friendships are important.
So, if you want, I can take it back.
I reject my wish. I reject that stuff. I don't even want to humor that stuff.
Would like to go back?
Take me back.
Okay.
Well, things seem to be back to normal so far. But Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.
Now, I hope you've learned your lessons about making very, wishes that shouldn't be trifled with. Now,